The music world was once again set ablaze last week with the monumental release of Taylor Swift's 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, a project that immediately captivated her global audience and sparked fervent discussion across critics and fans alike. Swiftening quickly descended upon the tracklist, with one song in particular, the intriguingly titled Wood, emerging as a central topic of conversation and analysis. In a characteristically enigmatic move, Swift has publicly suggested that she believes her mother interprets the tune as a playful nod to popular superstitions, perhaps alluding to the act of knocking on wood for good luck. However, this seemingly innocent explanation is cleverly complicated by critical reception, such as the review from NME, which astutely observed that the song's lyrics subtly wink at her fiancé's prowess both in the bedroom and as a podcaster. This layered interpretation creates a classic Swiftian dichotomy, inviting listeners to choose between a surface-level narrative and a more intimate, personal reading buried within the melodic subtext. The track's suggestive nature is undeniable, moving beyond mere winks into overt lyrical territory that firmly anchors the song in her relationship with Travis Kelce. Swift masterfully weaves references to his public persona into a tapestry of intimate metaphor, singing, "Seems to me that you and me, we make our own luck/new heights of manhood. I ain't gotta knock on wood," a clear and clever nod to both his athletic achievements and the title of his popular podcast, New Heights, with his brother Jason. This bold confidence is matched by the chorus's even more explicit declaration, "His love was the key that opened my thighs," a line that leaves little to the imagination regarding the song's carnal undertones. Together, these lyrics paint a picture of a deeply physical and empowering connection, transforming the album's narrative from one of mere superstition into one of self-assured sensuality. For those eager to delve even deeper, a comprehensive guide to all the Easter eggs and references nestled within The Life of a Showgirl awaits, offering a detailed map to the rich landscape Swift has crafted. Completing the public conversation around the provocative album, the latest episode of the New Heights podcast provided the highly anticipated perspective of Travis Kelce himself. Seated in the recording studio alongside his brother and co-host, Jason, the professional American footballer and Swift's fiancée directly addressed the whirlwind of interpretation surrounding The Life of a Showgirl. With the easygoing banter that defines their show, Travis navigated the personal territory, offering his thoughts on the record that so openly explores their relationship. His commentary, likely a blend of proud admiration and characteristic humor, served as the final piece in the album's promotional cycle, bridging the gap between Swift's intimate songwriting and the very public figure who inspired it, making the entire exchange a modern meta-narrative of love, fame, and artistic expression. On the latest episode of the New Heights podcast, the conversation inevitably turned to the album dominating the cultural conversation, with Travis Kelce directly addressing the notably suggestive lyrics of Wood. When prompted by his brother Jason, Travis responded with a characteristically coy and charming demeanor, carefully choosing his words with a mix of pride and discreet privacy. "It's a great song. I love that girl, any song that she would reference me in that way," he said, his voice trailing off with a knowing smile that spoke volumes. His unfinished thought and warm affirmation served as a tacit confirmation of the song's inspiration, acknowledging the personal nod from his fiancée without delving into the intimate details, a graceful dance between public figure and private partner that left the interpretation delightfully confirmed yet still respectfully his own. The discussion took a characteristically brotherly turn when Jason, never one to miss an opportunity to tease, interjected with his own granular analysis. "It's not just you," he suggested, narrowing the focus of the lyrics with playful precision onto Travis's manhood, before clarifying with a laugh, "It's an appendage. It's a very specific thing." This bold anatomical interpretation prompted a swift and humorous defense from Travis, who retorted with the familiar exasperation of a younger brother, "I think you're not understanding the song." The entire exchange, oscillating between sincere appreciation and light-hearted ribbing, perfectly encapsulated the unique dynamic of the podcast, transforming a global media moment into an intimate, relatable conversation between siblings, all while deftly acknowledging the song's intimate subject matter without ever sacrificing their characteristic charm. Despite the song's eventual reception as one of her most candidly carnal, Taylor Swift earlier this week insisted that Wood started out in a very innocent place. Elaborating in an interview with Jimmy Fallon while breaking down the album, Swift recounted the song's genesis, explaining that she initially approached famed producers Max Martin and Shellback with a purely sonic and thematic concept. "I wanna do a throwback, timeless-sounding song, and I have this idea of I ain't gotta knock on wood, and it would be all superstitions. It really started out in a very innocent place." This claimed origin story stands in delightful contrast to the track's final form, which so clearly wink at her fiancé Travis Kelce. The Kelce brothers themselves recently dove into this very dichotomy on their New Heights podcast. While Travis coyly praised the song, saying, "It's a great song. I love that girl, any song that she would reference me in that way," his brother Jason immediately steered the conversation toward the provocative, suggesting some lyrics were about Travis' manhood, quipping, "It's an appendage. It's a very specific thing." Travis's joking retort, "I think you're not understanding the song," perfectly capped the debate, leaving fans to ponder the delightful tension between Swift's innocent initial inspiration and the decidedly more intimate masterpiece it became. In a fascinating reveal of her creative process, Taylor Swift has painted the evolution of Wood as a sort of magical accident, a track that strayed far from its innocent origins. She initially envisioned it as a throwback anthem exploring universal superstitions, famously telling producers Max Martin and Shellback, "I wanna do a throwback, timeless-sounding song, and I had this idea of I ain't gotta knock on wood, it really started out in a very innocent place." Yet, as she recently explained to Jimmy Fallon with a shrug of genuine bemusement, the session took on a life of its own. "I don't know what happened, man," Swift continued. "I got in there, we started vibing, and I don't know how we got here, but I love the song so much." This here is the song's final, boldly intimate form, packed with lyrics winking at fiancé Travis Kelce's podcast New Heights and his manhood, a point hilariously underscored by his brother Jason on their podcast. Travis's coy praise for the track and his brother's anatomical teasing complete a perfect cycle of artistic creation and personal reaction, all while Swift maintains that the song's provocative destination was an unexpected, though thoroughly beloved, detour. For years, Taylor Swift voiced a deep-seated fear that her songwriting might dry up if she were ever in a sustainably happy relationship, privately wondering, "What if writing is directly tied to my torment and pain?" Now, with the release of her record-breaking album, The Life of a Showgirl, that anxiety has been thoroughly put to rest. The journey of its most talked-about track, Wood, serves as the perfect case study. It began, as she told Jimmy Fallon, in a very innocent place as a concept about superstitions, but evolved in the studio into a boldly intimate anthem winking at her fiancé Travis Kelce's podcast and his personal prowess. As if to prove this point, the Kelce Brothers podcast became a forum for dissecting these very lyrics, with Jason humorously narrowing in on Travis's manhood while Travis defended his interpretation with a brother's exasperation. Reflecting on this creative surge, Swift has now joyfully concluded that her old fears were unfounded, marveling that she and her collaborators were simply catching lightning in a bottle with this record. The entire episode, from innocent idea to provocative hit and its public dissection, stands not just as a hit-making story, but as a testament to Swift's hard-won realization that her artistry can, in fact, be fueled by joy as powerfully as it once was by pain. Ultimately, the conversation around The Life of a Showgirl and its standout track would transcend mere lyrical analysis and enters the realm of Swift's artistic legacy. As one compelling critique posits, while seeking escapism is no sin, her greatest works, from the fiery vindication of reputation to the narrative alchemy of folklore, were transformative, making the personal feel like life or death. This new album, however, marks a distinct evolution. For the first time, Swift appears not catalyzed into artistic growth by love, but merely comfortably secured by it. The journey of Wood, from its innocently superstitious concept to its blissfully settled, intimate final form, becomes the perfect metaphor for this very shift. It is the sound of an artist who has conquered her old fears, not through turbulent inspiration, but through the confident, contented security of a love that no longer requires torment to create, only a shared, private joy to celebrate.